Welcome, everyone. It is Friday, April 15th. God, we're in mid-April already, 2022. This is Mike Saves Hockey after a little break here on Full Press Hockey. You can find us again, twitch.tv/Full Press Coverage, youtube.com/Full Press Coverage, Facebook and twitter.com/Full Press NHL, wherever you listen, and on the Full Press Radio Network. I am joined here today because we have a very fun topic. I'm joined by my co-host on Full Press Hockey Weekly on Tuesday nights, Jim Biringer. Jim, how are you on this lovely day?
I'm doing good, just come off playing some hockey, so I'm doing pretty good, Got to keep it into tradition of Friday hockey, so got to keep that going. And I know we got a big topic to talk about today, so I mean, it's the flavor of the month, I guess, flavor of the year with this with what we got going today. And we had a great show on Tuesday. We wanted to give you all the best wishes to you, Mike. Hope you're doing well. But we killed it with the playoff races. I love you chiming in, but I'm glad to see you back on the air. So
yeah, don't worry, I was still there, just throwing comments.
Yeah, exactly. You were throwing zingers, especially about your poor Gerard Gallant.
You mean the 2021-22 Jack Adams? That was really sad when they lost that night to the Hurricanes. That kind of put a damper on that. But I mean, that was their chance. But we'll see what happens. Still a couple more weeks left in the season. But we're not here to talk about the on-ice product. We're here to talk about production. And today's topic, how we're going to save hockey this week. And you know what? It's just, today is Mike and Jim Save Hockey because we are two of the most passionate people when it comes to this in all of the Full Press Coverage community and staff. The broadcast. I did one of my earlier shows on the broadcast, on broadcasting and my complaints about the ESPN Plus and things like that. But through the rest of the season, the more and more I go, man, there's one thing that stands out, and is that how bad TNT has been in this first year. And yes, it's first year, but today we are going to save the production, and we are going to save the NHL on TNT. So for those unaware, and if you're watching the show, you aren't unaware, the NHL has two broadcast partners now. Turner, TNT, and ESPN, ABC. So, the ESPN deal, it's games here and there on the network. Saturday afternoons, they have games. And then ESPN Plus gets its own package. Again, exclusive games at that. I'm not a fan of that because I still like laying on my couch or laying in my bed and watching hockey. And I don't have smart TVs in every room because that's just stupid. And I'm not going to spend the money on a Roku for every room because, again, that's just stupid. But that's not the point of this. TNT is the other one. Games Wednesday night doubleheaders, Sunday afternoon games, which I really love during when there's no I love the Sunday afternoon games. I prefer them to Saturday afternoon games, to be honest. And that's fine. The games are there. The problem is the studio, the presentation, the lack of attention to detail, and who they're having call these games. So, we're just going to get right into this. We'll start with the studio. I'm going to say something that a lot of people think, but for some reason, because of his legacy, they don't want to say. Wayne Gretzky sucks.
Yeah, he's not very good.
He's not charismatic. He's your typical hockey bro that everything is just so monotone and boring.
But that's the problem. See, and you brought up the perfect example where to start. This isn't what TNT's trying to do in the studio is trying to recreate inside the NBA, which is an Emmy award-winning show.
The greatest sports pre and post game show ever.
They're trying to recreate it with hockey. The problem is there are no personalities in the game that are analysts that can do studio work.
At least not yet. You know when it's going to get really fun? When PK Subban retires.
Right.
But you're not allowed to have these personalities.
No, then you're going to have that mix where you have one guy like that's a Magic and Charles type thing to who's the other guy on there? It's not Ernie, but it's the other
Kenny Smith.
Yeah, Kenny Smith. They go back and forth. Then you may have that. But right now, you got Tocchet, Biz. The problem with Biz is he's getting reined in because of the network, and that's not who he is. He's better on his podcast.
I don't like him at all. I think he's a giant doucher. That has nothing to do with his vendetta against the city of Buffalo and Sabres fans. Though it is hilarious because he takes L's every time he talks trash about the Sabres.
Yeah, he does.
He takes L's every time. But man, Rick Tockett's a whole nother thing. But like, yeah, they're trying too hard to create. Like, they got the legend. They got one of the greats, the greatest of all time in Gretzky. But yeah, he's boring. Like Shaq on Inside the NBA, very monotone, very deep voice, but he's funny. He's entertaining. Yeah. Like everybody on there on Inside the NBA is entertaining. And Ernie Smith is fantastic at hosting and bouncing. Sorry, Liam McHugh, another. Love him. Like, I think he's really good. I don't think he is good in what they need to get over the top with this.
Yeah, so here's the thing. A lot of these guys outside of like Tox and those guys came over from NBC. Like Anson Carter's there. It's basically NBC 2.0. Yeah, it's 2.0.
We've talked about it. Yeah.
If you make the NXT reference, it's NXT 2.0 at TNT.
They got rid of they brought in a bunch of the old talent, but at least NXT 2.0 got rid of the old talent from the last regime.
That's true, they did, yeah. But I like Liam as a host.
Me too, but I think he's better with football.
He is, but when he was with hockey on NBC with just two other guys, it was fine.
Yeah, trying to spread it. Like their Atlanta studio is incredible. It's beautiful. The graphics they use in the studio, I love.
Right.
But yeah, Liam, I do feel like I'm watching NBC Sports again, and that's not what I want.
No.
There's a reason they left NBC is because it wasn't working.
The problem is it kind of was working if you actually, and we can get to this later. If you look at the Nielsen ratings every week, it actually was working.
The ratings thing, yeah, we will talk about later. I have a different theory with that or a different thought.
Yeah.
Because it was, but for me, like Liam, I don't know. He just seems, and this is coming from someone who doesn't do that for a living.
Right.
So but whatever. I'm an armchair producer, executive producer now for the NHL and TNT. Facilitating to these guys. Tocchet, I don't want to hear him talk at all. Ever.
He should just be a coach.
No, he shouldn't be anything.
No. I'm saying he should just be in the game somewhere, but not on TV.
Yeah, agreed. If he's anywhere at all, yeah. Bissonnette, I get what they're trying to do, but he's not funny.
No, he's not.
He tries hard to be funny, like a Charles Barkley, but he's not funny.
No.
Wayne Gretzky is that analytical, breaks down the thing. And I'm going to compare. Wayne Gretzky is like the Kenny Smith. Or they want him to be. Break down, the analytical. But he's boring. Kenny Smith makes it fun when he knows he is a genius when it comes to the basketball court. Gretzky is not. He's not that. He was a shitty coach. He's a shitty analyst. I just, leave him as a great player and let him ride off into the sunset away. Like, I get why you brought him in, but it doesn't work. And the of the ones I like, the only one I honestly would like to see, because I think he has the most, is Anson Carter. Yeah. I love Anson Carter. I thought he never got enough time on NBC, and I still don't think he gets enough time on TNT, and he should be one of the main guys.
I love Anson Carter. I love him when he calls games with the Islanders because he's been filling in for Butch a lot. He's great. He does great analytical work on MSG. He's such a good personality. I wish they would give him more time. I thought, the other night when they brought in Jennifer Botterill from Sportsnet, I thought she did pretty good on the coverage with TNT. But I agree. I think the thing is, with this studio, I know you don't want to recreate what NBC had, and you want to lengthen it out, but I think less is more here. I think with hockey, you don't need 5 guys on a panel for a pre and post game show. I think you can go
3 is fine.
3 is fine.
I agree entirely. It's a situation, where 3 is fine, but and I know the people will go, well, if not them, then who? That's not that. I'm going to say, I don't want him there, but it's not my decision to make. Anson Carter, I really like. I know they've tried, what's his name? I'm blanking on his name.
I don't think Keith Jones has ever been on the...
No, Keith Jones. No, I don't care for him either.
Yeah.
I also am not a fan like in the booth, and we'll get to in the booth in a minute. But like, I just feel like Patrick Eaves didn't work either for me.
No.
It's just I don't
Too bad
know
they couldn't get Patrick Sharp back.
Or yeah, Patrick Sharp. That's who I was thinking of. He didn't work for me, not Patrick Eaves.
I mean, I always thought he was good when he was with NBC. I always thought he was...
he just, again, they all just come across with hockey. They're not they're not personable. Like they all just come across as robots with how they talk. And I think
would you want to see Lundqvist on there more?
He's a handsome, beautiful man. So yes.
So, I mean, no, dude's out of hockey still got the best hair in hockey.
And he's best dressed man. I honestly am waiting for PK Subban to retire because I think he would be ridiculously fun.
Yo, him and Anson Carter going back and forth with Liam McHugh Houston. I'll take that all day.
It would be great. And yeah, you only need the 3. I don't need 4 people or whatever on the panel. Like 3 with a special guest every now and then. You like McHugh, I think, could do it if it's down to 2 people and he's just going ping pong rather than a triangle or 4 square playing whatever. So if you got a guy like Subban down the line and an Anson Carter and you got McHugh leading the way there, I think that's a perfect set. But they just, it seems like first year they're trying too hard to replicate inside the NBA and it's not there.
No.
But that's not the least or the biggest of the problems. The biggest of the problems is watching the games being called.
Yes.
The reason I hated Doc Emmerich is because he never called the action on the ice. I know you're a Devils fan, and I know Chris is a Devils fan. Yeah. And for some reason, I have way too many Devils fans friends. Way too many.
Well, way too many. That's because we're a good team. That's why. Well, we're a good team. We're a good team.
I think I just like hanging out with masochists.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm also a wrestling guy, so you know that too. So
exactly. So I know I like hanging around masochists.
Yeah, exactly.
But did I find Doc to be one of the most overrated play-by-play ever because he never. I don't care where somebody played junior college 12 years ago. I don't.
Yeah, but that was Pierre McGuire.
But he would feed into it.
I know he would. Well, towards the end, he would.
He's an enabler, and they're the worst kind of people. But when he was gone, I'm like, good. Kenny Albert, I like, but he's not a main play-by-play guy. I was really, really hoping if they were going to bring anybody from NBC over to be the top play-by-play guy, it was going to be John Forsland.
They should have. That's what they should have done.
He went to Seattle. He does Seattle Kraken games, and I'm going to say that Dave Hackstall and Ron Francis ruined him too because now he's got to call a terrible team.
Yeah, this is true, but I would agree with that. I thought if before Forsland went to Seattle, I thought this was the place for him to be the lead play-by-play guy because I think you could have just gone Forsland and you could have gone Kenny Albert and then Brendan Burke. I think Brendan Burke does a good job. I listened to him for the Islanders games and I like him on a national when he has the right personnel. And real quick, Doc Emmerich, when he was doing the local Devils for a long time and doing games on ABC as well on Fox, would call the game. I think the fact that with NBC and Pierre and all this stuff, they just want him to feed into that stuff. When he was just calling the game, he was good. Yeah,
I'm not a fan. Never was. But one guy that I really, really would have loved to see get that chance, and maybe he was offered, and I'd love to know. Maybe I'll reach out to him, and maybe you can talk about it. I would have loved to see Steve Goldie, the voice of the Florida Panthers, get a chance as
He's
the
really
national play-by-play guy. I remember
really
when I worked for the Hockey Writers, he was my number 2 voice in team-by-team play-by-play. I ranked all 30 teams at the time, and he was number 2 on my list. I love him. The only one he was behind was Dave Strader, who, God miss him.
Yo, rest in peace, Dave Strader.
If he was still around, to me, he would be the voice. If he was still here, he'd be the voice of NHL and TNT.
Absolutely, 100%. He might, but you never know. ESPN might have tried to grab him too.
Yeah, true. ESPN's a whole other thing which we could talk about because John Butchergross is terrible.
Well, that's because they got the wrong guys in the wrong positions.
Yeah, John Butchergroff is terrible. Steve Levy still sounds just as good as he did back in the early 2000s calling games. John Butchergross, I'd rather listen to a dying animal. But yeah, I'm just not a fan. They don't watching NHL on TNT is literally NBC 2.0 because
everybody's the same.
When you're watching a game, sometimes you're not. A lot of us we look away. We look at our laptops if we're writing, if we're working. Like in our instance, we're usually working while we're watching these.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my phone. I'm checking messages. Whatever. I'm talking to my wife, talking to the kids. Whatever.
Yeah, you throw them a quick tweet about a save or something.
Yeah, I want to know what's going on in the game. I don't want to sit there. There were games. The Heritage Classic is one example of it being terrible. I get they do it for outdoor games, but there was a game a few weeks ago. It was a 10 o'clock game, and Kenny was doing it. I can't remember. I know it involved Vegas, because what a shock. It went a good 4.5 minutes of game time without a single call of what was happening on the ice.
Are you serious?
4.5 minutes. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. Okay. Like, if I wasn't watching, I would have had no idea what was going on the ice. Like, no one tells me there's a shot. No one tells me to save, like anything like that. And it really bothers me. And I come from like, I'm not necessarily wanting radio style play-by-play.
Foster Hewitt style. No, I'm just kidding.
I grew up in Buffalo. You had, you still to this day, you have the TV and radio are the same pair.
Right.
So they have to call it as if they're on radio. So, or they're only on radio. So every second you get the action.
You get something. Yeah.
I'm not saying I need that, but what I am saying is call the action on the ice. Don't act confused when things are going on, and don't sound surprised at a shot in a power play from the slot. Or don't call. Like, I've had too many times where I'm in-game interviews already annoy me, but I've had too many times to count this year. Or watch a game, a goal gets scored. They don't call the goal when it happens, and you just hear, oh, and they score. Like, oh, and they score.
Right, like, come on.
Not once watching an ESPN Plus or ESPN broadcast did that ever happen.
No.
Not once this year. And I tracked, like, they have, again, I don't care for the ESPN only games, or ESPN Plus only games, but ESPN has killed it. Do I wish they put more games on the networks? 100%. But from a broadcast, a presentation with who they got, Ferraro, Chelios, and Messier, kill it.
Well, Ferraro, let's be honest. Ray Ferraro is probably the best color guy in the game right now.
Yeah, and he's been doing it for decades. Like, they got Messier to come in. Messier was a lot better than I expected. Chelios was about as what I expected.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want him to be the only guy, but as part of a group, when he comes in and he has something to say that's like of value, it works.
You know who's been, and I know this is supposed to be about TNT, but who I love as a color guy right now is Kevin Weeks.
Kevin Weeks. I love Kevin. He still owes me a beer.
It's all right. Kevin, you still owe this guy a beer, so, just let him know. Yeah.
He's so great. Everything he does. Kevin Weeks is just a star. If TNT was smart, they would have tried to get him.
Yeah, they really should have got him.
Because he would have been great on that panel. Are you kidding me? Watching him on the NHL Network for years was fantastic.
He's still on a network.
I know. It's just great. I don't watch the network as much anymore, admittedly, just because,
I mean, look, I have my own problems with the network, but that's a different episode, so.
Yeah. Yeah, we could do a whole nother one overhauling NHL Network.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, ESPN has killed it this first year. Other than the amount of games, I hope in the future there's more.
I think their things are going to start to pick up. The issue was like going back with the ESPN Plus. Remember when it's still on NBC, they just had the feed broadcast, and you would just pay the $5.99, so you get all these games. And I think similar package right now because you get all the games because there's no NHL TV or whatever. But I do agree. I think the thing is, I wish, because again, everybody worried about would they become, where would they be in the pecking order? And obviously, when college basketball's on, they're not going to put it on. But I think we're going to see more ESPN Network games down the stretch because of the playoffs, push to the playoffs, and all that stuff.
That's the hope.
That's the hope. Did you know last night TNT was their last Wednesday night doubleheader? They have no more
brutal.
games for the rest of the season on Wednesday night.
At all?
At all.
And we have 2 weeks left in the regular season, and we're in the playoff race.
Yep.
It's a joke, and I get because they put basketball number one. And ESPN does the same because, to be fair, basketball does bring in the higher ratings.
They do.
And speaking of ratings, TNT, not as good as what NBC has drawn.
No.
But I'm going to play devil's advocate with this, and then I'll throw it to you. It's the first year, and people were so programmed for 15 years, 16 years to tune into NBC Sports or Versus or whatever it was. But it was all the same network, all the same number channel, all the same
Outdoor Life.
OLN, baby. Because when I think of outdoors, I think of inside
hockey.
an arena.
Exactly.
But the ratings have not been good.
No.
Part of that is
outside of the big games, like the outdoor games.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, and it's just
I think the first week was good, but
they're also getting duds. Like ESPN has this problem too. Nine of these deals have the thing where I think within 24 hours they should be able to, or if within 24 or 48 hours, maybe 48. And I get there's logistics behind it, but within 48 hours or by 48 hours before, you should be able to change which game you're broadcasting.
Like the NFL does with their Sunday night package, you could flex games out.
Yeah, granted they do it 2 weeks, but for this, it's like
still
Philly and Washington the other day, 9-1.
Like, why is that not?
Last night, Colorado and LA. Granted, last night was weird because there was only 3 games, so they didn't really have much to choose from, but still 9-3. These games, and that at least was between 2 playoff teams, and my God, did Colorado look bad.
No, you mean Colorado?
On Wednesday night. Or LA
looked bad. Yeah, I was going to say.
But overall, this is a thing where being able to flex games out would be nice for these, so you always have playoff battles.
I will say, and I've been talking with people like inside, there's not really a good night for like hockey coverage because of what's like there's so much going on. Like you don't want to go up against Monday night. Monday night's bad. Tuesdays there's NBA on, but you could do it. I think the problem is the way the NHL schedule is set up, it's a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday league. And sometimes Sunday, there's a little bit more games.
Sunday after football season.
Yeah, exactly. Then there's more games. So the Wednesday night games may not always be the sexiest. And usually it is the same teams. It's like the original NBC 9, though this year we're getting more flex games in.
We're getting Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. So, but, the Sunday games too. But the biggest thing for me is the pre-game show is taking way too long to get to the game on the ice.
I have that problem with NBC when they say a game is starting at 7 and the puck drop isn't until 7:22. That bothers the shit out of me. It has always bothered me when national games. I remember when I was covering the Sabres and I was in the arena and stuff, and it's like, it's an NBC game. All right, well, crap. I guess game's not starting until 7 or 8 o'clock, even though it's a 7:30 puck drop.
Right.
7:30 start time. So I'm at the arena until 2 a.m. And when they tried to do the thing where all Wednesday games started at 8, I'm like, 8 o'clock on the East Coast? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, seriously.
Bite me. Like, no. It bothered me so much. And TNT has that problem too. And I get why you don't I get why they do it to a point of like, you want people to tune in and then get up on what's going on with the teams or whatever. But if they're going to watch the game, they're already going to watch the damn game.
Right. But it kills. And I say this,
kills the channels flippers.
Right, exactly. And everybody's like, oh, it has nothing to do with ratings. I'm like, bro, if the puck does not drop within 5 minutes of that start time, you just lost your audience.
Yeah.
You just lost your audience. Because they're not going back. They're not going to go back because they don't want to hear people talk. That's what your intermission reports are for. Like, bang, bang, in. Like, just real quick. Over the weekend, it was better. They were about within 10 minutes of the start time. So it's getting better, but that's my biggest...
Come playoff time, they need to tighten
drop
that
puck within 5 minutes because there's going to be overtime. There's going to be overrun.
Like, do what baseball does. Baseball says first pitch, like the game starts at 7:07.
Yeah.
Game's at 7:07 then.
Yeah, game's at 7:07. They are on time. NFL, on time. Everybody is on time with this stuff, and TNT continuously makes these and why do you think games got to start on True TV? Because on Wednesday night, or on the weekend, because we have overrun because we started the game late. Like,
yeah.
What was it? I think the Bruins were in Vegas. The game on the East Coast did not start until like 10:25.
Yeah, and it's like that doesn't work for anybody.
That doesn't work.
That doesn't work. That's not gonna work, Daddy. Like,
yeah. All right, Dusty.
I just don't like it. Yeah, there's a lot we could do. And the playoffs are gonna be a real test. Visually, their package, their graphics on the air, I do like a lot.
Yeah.
I like that they have the shot counter. I wish ESPN had a constant shot counter. I like the on ice graphics. But there's the one graphic that we saw, their PR, where they forgot the H in both Philadelphia. And they forgot an H in Pittsburgh. So it was Pittsburgh versus Philadelphia. Yeah, someone said whoever made these graphics clearly just speaks in a Jamaican accent.
Yeah, seriously.
And yeah, sure.
That's bad. That's real bad. I saw that today. I was like, oh my, you cannot do that.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like, there goes our topic for this week's show.
Yeah.
So we only got a few minutes left. Again, I want to thank Jim for joining me here. You can catch us every Tuesday night, Full Press Hockey Weekly, Tuesday night 8, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify,
everywhere.
Full Press Radio Network, everywhere you get your favorite shows. But if you were to do one thing, like your top thing, number one thing about NHL and TNT to make it better, what would it be?
Man, that's a good question. The one thing I would do to make it better would make sure to have the game start on time. I think that's a big thing for me. I want the games to start on time. I don't want to flip the channel and we're still 10 minutes away from puck drop. I don't want that. I want the game to start on time as quickly as possible because that's what you need. Your scheduled start on the schedule says 7 p.m. You better be as close to 7 p.m. as possible.
Yeah. Or do the whole puck drop 7:17 or something. Yeah. That way people know. It's one thing if there's like a special event going on before like a jersey retirement. Those do go long.
Right. But still.
But it shouldn't be that way. For me, it's overhaul who calls the games. You find a way. All respect to Kenny Albert. His voice does not bring me excitement for hearing games.
He's a radio guy. That's why.
Yeah. Give me someone who calls the games, but has an excitement in his voice. Give me that's why I love Goldie, man. I would love to see if he can get in. That's why I love John Forsland. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens come the playoffs because there is a lot that could change in the playoffs. That's usually when teams. I mean, you see it with the Super Bowl and with the NBA playoff. Like they try new broadcast things in the playoffs.
Real quick before we get out of here, the big thing when they were early on. TNT, obviously, everybody knew AEW Dynamite was on TNT before they switched over to TBS. There's a lot of competition on Wednesday. Everybody knows what Wednesday means. However, when those two were still on the same network, they never used Dynamite to their advantage to be a lead-in to the game at 10 o'clock. And you could have done that. Be like,
they tried. They would say at the first couple weeks of the season they would.
Right, but they never kept up with it. Here, like, all right, everybody, hey, another great episode of AEW Dynamite. We're sending you off to Vegas for NHL hockey.
And then you go right into 2-minute pregame puck drop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would be nice. We'll see. We'll see what they do, what Turner does. Again, year one, I know going off on them, but it's been NBC level bad.
Yeah, it really has.
And that's because they brought so many over. But that's just what we do here. We give our great takes, and then we deal with you guys in the comment section and on Twitter and wherever telling us how wrong and stupid we are. For Jim, no, we're geniuses. That's why we get paid to do this. Mm-hmm. For Jim, I'm Mike. You can find Jim on Twitter at Jim Biringer, myself at Mike Straw Media. Until next time, this has been Mike Saves Hockey. We are